Hello and welcome to the Vinyl Sanctuary. My name is Christian and I hope that you will join me in taking refuge in records. Well, it's been quite a week as I sit here and record this video today. I'm not long back from a truly wonderful trip up to Edinburgh and it was just incredible. I'm still totally buzzing off it, to be fair. I was up there to watch my favourite band of all time, Manic Street Preachers, co-headline a show with Suede, who are also a band that are well up there for me. And they performed together at Edinburgh Castle, and it was brilliant, so good, and delighted that I went up there. Went there with my wife for a few days, and we were able to take in some of the sights and sounds of Edinburgh as well, and did a little bit of shopping and caught the gig, and then we were back home then before the end of the week. So brilliant few days I've had. It was wonderful to get back up to Edinburgh. Beautiful city, one that I've got all the time in the world for. I mean, my father's family, because I'm of Scottish descent, are all from Glasgow, and spent more time going up there when I was younger to see family and things. But I've kind of tried to get up to Edinburgh more in recent times. So to get back up there again was and to have that reason to go was just brilliant. And it was my first time going to the castle as a gig as well as a venue for a gig. So I was really impressed by the organisation and how quick it was getting in and out of the venue. The seating was really comfortable. The weather behaved itself as well. I'm delighted to say, because it really looked like and threatened it was going to rain all day. And with me being from the northwest of England, between Manchester and Liverpool, I am no stranger to rain. So I was fully expecting it to rain a lot. But when the band, it was Suede who kicked things off, the weather was great, and nice temperature, and was just able to sit there and really enjoy myself. So yeah, feeling very blessed and very grateful to have attended that concert. But while I was up there in Edinburgh, I also made a bit of time to have a bit of a browse around and a bit of a mooch, and to do a bit of a vinyl hunt. I had to do that while I was up there because I had no shortage of shops to choose from. So during my time on a Leith Walk, and I got up to Elm Row on Leith Walk, I discovered a shop called Vinyl Villains, which had a really striking frontage to it. Stands out brilliantly in all the right ways. It just sort of beckons you in to go and have a look. And some of the records that he had on display in the window look fantastic as well. So I just couldn't wait to get in there. So I will show you a few records that I managed to pick up in Vinyl Villains, and then right before I was due to catch the train home, I had a little bit of time to kill, and I had a few quid of holiday money left in the pocket. So I was able to find a local branch there of HMV, and I bought one final record, just one for the road. So I'll show you that one as well, just because it made me smile looking at it, and it took me right back to being 14. So I just thought, yeah, I'm going to buy this, because it was a bit of a nostalgia trip for me, and I think I was still riding a bit of a nostalgia wave, having watched two bands from the early 90s again. Took me back to my teenage years. So I think I was in that kind of place in my head, and I just thought, yeah, I'm going to treat myself to another record. So I've got 4 in total to show you. So the first 3 are from Vinyl Villains, and then the other one then is from HMV. So first of all, a little bit more information about Vinyl Villains. I'll just show you the bag. So there we go. Look at that brilliant artwork there on the bag. So as you can see there, it says at the top, vinyl, LPs and singles, CDs, DVDs, cassettes, etc. bought and sold. So there we go. And as I mentioned, they're based at Elm Row on Leith Walk in Edinburgh. So I complimented the owner of the shop on the bag. We had a little chat about it, and his sort of thinking behind the concept for the artwork for the bag. And I said to him very right off the bat, pretty much, that it brought to mind, sort of the B-movie aesthetic and, Tales from the Crypt, etc. And then he said to me, yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. I'm a huge Cramps fan. To which I replied, oh, well, I'm a huge Cramps fan as well. So we just had a bit of a nod and a smile, and exchanged, our mutual appreciation for the Cramps. And then I hadn't noticed that he actually had black and white photograph of Lux Interior, the lead singer of the Cramps, behind the counter. So he just pointed up to this photo of Lux, and then I said, "Oh, there he is. There's Lux." And then we both had a bit of a laugh, and then he continued then to dig out my records and serve me. So yeah, as you can see, this is definitely, as I've heard it directly from the owner himself, this is a very Cramps inspired look for the Vinyl Villains artwork. I would say that the front of the shop doesn't look quite as sort of Crampsy as this. I think I've just created a new word there. But as I said, a really arresting frontage. It's got like some beautiful artwork on there. There's like a pair of eyes on one side, and then there's like a lady smoking on the other side of the shop, and it's all been rendered in this sort of beautiful smoky kind of charcoal grey effect. So it's just it just immediately strikes you. I mean, even if you have to kind of do a double take to see what type of a shop it is, instantly you can just tell from looking at the artwork that it's a shop that you would want to delve into. Then it only takes a couple of seconds when the artwork has been processed to see all those beautiful records in the front window, and the fact that it says Vinyl Villains in rather large writing to deduce that yes, it is in fact a record shop. So as you can probably imagine, I was very quick to leg it over there and have a look. So yeah, so that's the bag. So I'm going to show you the records, and what I've done is I've tried to put them in order of excitement levels. So I'm chuffed to mint balls to have all three of them. Truly am. But I've tried to order them in terms of I've kept the one that I was like the most excited about to the end, and then the middle one. To be honest, I'm delighted with the middle one too. Delighted with the first one I'll show you, but that was more just one I thought, well, yeah, it'd be nice to have. Probably wouldn't say like it was totally essential, but I was having a little bit of a holiday, and I thought, why not? Kind of similar to the one that I got from HMV that I'll show you as well. So we'll show you the first one, and that is The Best of the Libertines. There we go, and that's been given the title down the bottom there, Time for Heroes. So there we go, the Libertines, which takes me back to the early 2000s. So I would have been in my late teens at that point. And I just remember being so excited about the Libertines when they hit the scene. I was working in a record shop at that time in the town that I grew up in. And I remember my boss, Jim, getting the single What a Waster in. He'd ordered it in. And I just remember playing it and just being so blown away by it, the sheer exuberance of it. It kind of reminded me of a bit of a sort of a mashup of the Smiths and the Jam is how I remembered it sounding to me. And I hadn't seen any photographs of the band at this point. I mean, What a Waste was like the first thing they brought out. And I remember being really sort of intrigued and excited by the fact that Bernard Butler had produced it as well, the single, and it had that early version of I Get Along on there, which sounded great as well. So yeah, they just hit me straight away. And then I remember seeing them for the first time on the front cover of the NME, and just thinking what a cool looking band they were, and just was really invested in them right from the start. Started going to the concerts and watched them a fair bit. So I was one of the people that did see them a number of times with Pete and Carl together there on the back. I saw them a good few times, I would say, before Pete left the band. And then I actually was there at the concert when I think it was the first one that they'd done without Pete being in the band. Actually, I was at that concert. I do remember Carl talking about that briefly on stage, which was quite an unusual thing, to be honest, at the time, because I'd become so used to seeing Pete there, and he was such a presence on stage, and usually he would spend a lot of the time sort of booting Carl about, and all sort of like this kind of play fighting thing that they used to do quite a lot. But so much energy on stage, and a really good band. One that I've got, as I say, such fond memories of watching. So I'll show the vinyl off on this one as well, because I didn't realise until I took it to the counter that it's actually a red vinyl. So that was quite nice, because I do like to have some colour vinyl in the collection. So yeah, there you go. It's really, really nice to see that. So yeah, it just felt like a bit of a bonus because interestingly, um, in Vinyl Villains, it's not something I've noticed before very often in a shop. But when I was actually browsing through, the records were not in the sleeves. So the records were actually kept behind the counter. So you have the covers to look at, and you could see, how much things were, but the records were not there to actually peruse, which I thought was interesting. But I also quite liked it as well. And I would imagine, there's reasons for doing that in terms of, it ensures that the records are kept pristine in case people are maybe mishandling them or not putting them away properly, or maybe they're um, just perhaps doing it in a way that the proprietor didn't like. I didn't ask about it or anything. That really wouldn't have been, I think, appropriate to have asked. I just respected the fact that that was the setup in that particular shop, but it isn't one I've come across before. So when he showed it to me, he said, "Oh, it's a red vinyl." I was really impressed with that. So yeah, I'll actually name a few favourites off it as well because I tend to do that when I'm showing records off with the ones that I'm aware of anyway. So let me see what we got on here. So it's a 13 track best of. So I think it'll be quite a short and sweet one. The Libertines were not known for having 7 or 8 minute long epics or anything. These will all be sort of 2, 3, 4 minute tunes. So yeah, I'd have to say What a Waster is my favourite on here because it was the first song, and it was the band that made me think in a lot of ways that they were sort of the British equivalent of the Strokes, who were causing so many waves over in the UK. I mean, they were just this uber cool band, and everybody was talking about the Strokes, myself included. I was really into them, my mates really into them, but I did see the Libertines as sort of like an equivalent to that. And for me, the Libertines were the band that I felt I connected with more, just because of some of the lyrical themes and just the musicality of them, as well as brilliant and cool as the Strokes were. I did prefer and lent more towards the Libertines. So yeah, What a Waste I'll go for today. Don't Look Back into the Sun was a brilliant non-album single. Thoroughly enjoyed that one when it came out. Reminded me a little bit of The Only Ones, actually, musically. I did always think that with it. And let me see. Yeah, I'll have to mention Time for Heroes as well, which is the song that the best of takes its name from. That's a really good song. There is a line in there that always used to make me smile in Time for Heroes when it's very tongue in cheek, and it's not something that I personally agree with or believe in, but it just made me laugh at the time when he sings Pete Doherty, there's fewer distressing sights than that of an Englishman in a baseball cap. So it just always used to make me smile, that one. So there we go. So that's the first one I picked up in Vinyl Villains. That's the best of the Libertines. Okay, so this second one was well, I was really excited about getting this one, and until I found the third one to show you, where I'm probably going to break into a humongous grin, and my chops will be very, very chipper. And this one here, I'd say it is a punt to an extent, but I know enough about the band that it wasn't something that was just this complete sort of, oh, let's just see how it goes. I've got information. I had information on the band, but I don't believe I've ever heard this album before. I don't think I've ever heard it on sort of any previous record in any of the shops I've worked in the past. My local independent shop that I told you about, where I discovered the Libertines. I did work in HMV for a time as well, and I certainly didn't hear it in there. I don't think it would have been making their playlist or anything back then. But it's one that I've read more about in books and stuff, and I just felt that for me and the type of music that I'm into, it feels like I've found a missing piece of a jigsaw, sort of down the back of the couch, or under the couch or something, like this little piece that's been missing for years. And since I've had it, even though I've not had a chance to play it yet, I already feel like that my collection's a bit more complete. So this came out in 1966 originally, and I've got a repress here, and that album is Black Time by the Monks. So yeah, 1966 this originally came out. So I don't know much at all about this particular pressing. As I said, I only got it like a couple of days ago, but I have found out enough to acknowledge and understand that there are some extra tracks on there. There's 16 tracks on here in total, and yeah, it just, I mean, look at it for a start. I mean, you've got them there with the, with the cloaks and the tonsure going on. The band members there, they're really going for this sort of monks look, and it does often make me think that bands like Clinic, who I'm a massive fan of, a band from Liverpool with the surgical masks, that I've always been quite drawn to bands where they have this very kind of distinctive uniform kind of a look. So, Clinic or the Hives and people like that. Obviously, the Monks have got it going on. You get a lot of these groups like the White Stripes where they've just got this very, very, very distinctive visual look, appearance. The Beatles for a time did it, obviously, but back in the early 60s with that very intentional look that they had. So that just immediately drew me in. But the only other thing that I kind of really know about them, just because I'm a fan of The Fall, is I am aware that Marky Smith, the leader and the founder of The Fall, covered some Monks stuff. So I've heard bits and pieces, through The Fall and no doubt other bands that they've influenced, but I've never really gone and studied the Monks for myself. So yeah, there is some liner notes on here, which I was kind of thinking about reading, but I don't know if it'll kind of give the information that I want to require to provide. So I'm just looking. So it doesn't mention on the back here, although I have found that out, that these were actually American GIs, this band that was stationed in Germany, and they ended up forming this band. And from what I know, it's proto punk, it's garage rock. There's psychedelic influences in there. It's meant to be really sort of big booming drums, really sort of powerful guitar work going on. So the photographs here at the back, the singer here looks like really, really going for it. But yeah, I've not actually played it yet, so I'm really excited to give this one a spin. And as I said, if I hadn't found the other record that I ended up finding in there, then I would have been delighted just to have found this one and the Libertines, and I got it at a really good price as well. So if anybody's got any sort of thoughts on the Monks or any further information that you want to share with me, I would be delighted if you could. I'll just take it out as well and show it you, the actual record. It's not a coloured vinyl or anything, it's just a plain black, just a black label there, and black vinyl. And that was the other thing as well with these three records. They were all described and listed as being brand new. So the gentleman at Vinyl Villains did have plenty of second-hand records as well. But the three that I picked up did happen to be new, so I was really pleased with that. So yeah, I'm just thinking if there's anything else really to mention about it, because I've not been home that long, I've not really had a chance to sort of look into them too much. I think I'm just going to read out the liner notes. I wasn't planning to do it, but it's only a couple of paragraphs, so let's just see. Let's see how we get on. Hopefully my throat won't pack in either. So, sunlight grids quiver in the system. Read on. It's monk time. It's hop time. Don't read this. We said, don't read this. Let sapphires glide into the grooves. What is beat? What is beat today? And what is overbeat? And who the hell is going to melt the hot and cold world of tomorrow? Listen as Roger beats, Gary plucks, Dave pummels, and Eddie dreams hell's bass part. And Larry fingers the keys of the day after tomorrow. The monks believe in nothing. The monks believe that everything is possible. The monks give everything. The monks demand everything. Words are the outline of lies. Why do the monks produce their own words for days on end as the moon shines until one word leads to another? Don't listen. Count from 9 until blast off, then swim into the city's primeval forest. Black discs mirror colourful shimmering illusions. This black circle, however, quivers within the system of our dear world. Goodness gracious, the experiment, after all, is only beginning. Truth is habit forming. Lying is the art of pleasing the other. The monks, for their part, love. Gary Berger plays solo guitar and was born in Minnesota. Roger Johnston, a Texan, gives his drums the works. Chicago boy. That is Larry Clark, crazy fingers at the organ, for his father was no gangster, but a priest. And Dave Day has more than one banjo and more than one microphone built into each of his banjos. He claims that he was born in Washington, and Eddie Shaw, who hails from California, uses his bass guitar as he sees fit. So there you go. That's really making me want to play even more now. I love cryptic sleeve notes and stuff like that. But yeah, 1966, kind of the birth of garage rock from what I know, bit of punk rock, all kinds in there. So that might be an album at some point that I'll look at in more detail for the purpose of the channel. But you're seeing it here now for the first time as it's just been acquired into my collection. So that's the Monks there with the compilation Black Time. Okay, which is their first album, which was called Black Monk Time, and then it's got some additional tracks. Okay, so third album, final. Well, no, not the final album, because I've got the other one to show you, the bonus one. Right, taking a deep breath here, because I was utterly over the moon to find this particular record by this particular band. I don't come across them very often at all, so I was just so happy because I worked from Z back to A. That was the way I did it in the shop because of the other people that were in there browsing. So I'd found Monks and the Libertines, and then I got earlier into the alphabet and I found this one. So it is, it was £20, but it was brand new, so I was happy with that. It is a 2018 reissue of the album. It originally came out in 1986. It is a band that I love very much. It is a band that I have done an album ranking on my channel, which I advise you to please do go away and watch. Either if you're a fan of that band and you want to check it whether or not you agree with what I had to say about them, or if you're new to the band or you've never heard of them and you want to learn some more about them, they could just well be a band that changed your life. So without any further ado, my third and final album from Vinyl Villains in Edinburgh was Forever Breathes the Lonely Word by Felt. And honestly, I am just so happy that I'm even on camera now holding my very own copy of this record. I'm so pleased to own it because I've been collecting Felt records for a long time now. I don't see them that often at all. This is by far the cheapest amount of money that I've ever spent on a Felt album. But that also is fair to say because it's the only Felt album that I own that is not an original pressing. So the others have got, as you can see in my Felt video that I've mentioned, if you have a look on the channel you can find it. They're all originals. This one is a 2018 pressing. So I'm just going to take it out because it's a gatefold as well. So that is the organ player, piano player extraordinaire there, Martin Duffy, on the front cover of the record. And then inside we have this picture here of very glossy photograph there. We've got Lawrence over there, and then that's Martin Duffy again with the cigarette. So hopefully I can get that in shot and you can see that properly, but that is such a great photograph of them. There you go, hopefully you can see it better there with the glare not getting in the way. And then there's the back as well. So yeah, Forever Breathes a Lonely Word. I'm not going to mention where I placed it in my Felt ranking, just in case, spoilers and that sort of thing, but I'm just so happy to have it because, as I mentioned, I do collect them, Felt, as and when I find them, and yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, and then, checked the cover because the record, as I mentioned, was behind the counter, but it was labelled as new, so absolutely over the moon to have that. It's been a long time coming that for me to get that in the collection, so I'm just trying to think now how many Felt albums do I not have on vinyl now. So that would be 4. Yes, so me and the Monkey on the Moon, Train Above the City, The Strange Idol's Pattern, Other Short Stories, and Let the Snakes Crinkle Their Heads to Death. They're the 4 that I don't have on vinyl. So yeah, that is right, isn't it? Because I've got this one, Pictorial, Poem of the River, Ignite 7 Cannons, Thunder of Fear, yeah, Crumbling Answer to Beauty, yeah. So I've got 6 of the 10 now. So I'm going to keep going until I do eventually get them all. But yeah, over the moon with that one. So that was by far my favourite purchase of my trip to Edinburgh. Yeah, really happy. So yeah, favourite songs. Yeah, these are the ones I've always loved. September Lady, love that one. Gather Up Your Wings and Fly. Yeah, All the People I Like Are Those That Are Dead. That's on side two. What else do we really like on here as well? Yeah, A Wave Crashed on Rocks. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing this one. So this is when Felt were on the Creation label. So as I mentioned, this came out in 1986. And it was the first album as well that they released that didn't have any instrumentals on it. It was their first like non-instrumental album. By up until that point, they'd had albums that had some instrumentals on, or some that were just completely instrumental. But this one was just songs, all the way through with vocals from Lawrence. So yeah, Forever Breathes a Lonely Word by Felt. Okay, so that was my three in Edinburgh at Vinyl Villains. And then just as I was getting set to go home, I was killing a bit of time for the train and, wandered into HMV as you do and decided to get another one. So, yeah, this one was released in 1996 originally. So I was 14 back then. And to be honest, it is music kind of for that age group, really. I mean, it's still very bubbly and very sort of frothy and, sort of fizzy, poppy, punky, power pop, bit of slacker grungy influences in there. Try and get my words out properly to describe it. But yeah, as soon as I saw it, I just had this like sort of swelling, like inside. I thought, I've like a little surge of nostalgia, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to get it. And up until this point, I didn't have any of this band's music in my vinyl collection. I had them all on single at one point in CD, but I had EPs of this band and everything, but they're all long gone now. I actually collected this band quite up full on. So yeah, I'll show you. So this is the bag. First of all, trying to cover it up there a bit, but it's see through. So that's the bag. So let's take it out. Band from Northern Ireland. We got Ash with their debut album 1977. So it was called 1977 because that was the year that lead singer Tim Wheeler and guitarist songwriter was born. I think Mark Hamilton, the bassist, was born in 77 as well. And it's also a reference to their favourite film, Star Wars, which came out that year too. So that's why it was called 1977. And as we can see here from the hype sticker, Ash's iconic debut, album remastered for vinyl by John Davis at Metropolis Studios, includes the singles Kung Fu, Girl from Mars, Angel Interceptor, Goldfinger, and Oh Yeah, pressed on black and white splatter vinyl gatefold. Each copy unique and individual. So yeah, each splatter will be its own unique style. So I'll take it out and show you that. So here's the cover. So this was also £20. It had actually been reduced from 35 down to 20. So I was really pleased with that as well, to spend that on it. As I say, it just took me right back to my school days. Just many fond memories of listening to this album. Again, I've not had a chance to play it since I've been home, but I mean, I know these songs off by heart, inside out, back to front. I mean, this is one of those albums that, because of the age that I was at when it came out and when I was listening to it, because I mean, I bought this album like the week it had come out because I'd already heard, I'd heard the singles and stuff that had preceded it. I was aware of the trailer EP as well and stuff. Songs like Jack Names the Planets, Uncle Pat, stuff like that. So I just knew that when this landed, that it was going to be right up my street. And it was only sort of years later as well that I kind of realised where a lot of Ash's influences were coming from. So whilst it's like the height of Britpop, and they're a British band, but they were certainly taking their cues musically from the US, most certainly. And it didn't really kind of strike me like that at the time. But I'm hearing a lot of Nirvana in here, and Husker Du and Pavement and Dinosaur Jr. and a bit of Sonic Youth and that sort of stuff. Like, there is definitely an American aesthetic to the sound, and an overall feeling to it, and it is just really good, infectious, well-written songs. I do have a slight reservation that it's probably maybe not dated all that well. I don't know whether or not I'll have to reacquaint myself with the production and things like that, whether it maybe sounds a little bit dated now. But at the end of the day, you know, Tim Wheeler and the band, like, they were like teenagers when they wrote this, and they were like barely 20, or they were 19, 18, something like that when they wrote these songs. And, you know, I was a 14-year-old kid when I got into it. So listening to it at the age of 42, which is my age now, will be interesting. But as I said, I bought this more just for nostalgia and just because it was there, and I must have just been feeling in that kind of mood after, you know, having been to the castle and watching those 90s Titans, the Manic Street Preachers and Suede. So it was all part of that experience. So there's the inner there. And you see there's Mark Hamilton there. Over here that's Rick McMurray, the drummer, and then up there with the wad of cash, a big wad of fives there. It looks like, yeah, big wad of cash is Tim Wheeler. So let's have a look at this vinyl anyway. Show you that. Oh yeah, that looks nice. It's a splatter vinyl there, as you can see. And although I've not had a chance to listen to it yet, I have read up on it, on this particular pressing, you know, of these records, because splatter vinyls and colour vinyl can damage the overall audio quality of records. Well, I tend to think so. Sometimes it can happen, but with this one in particular, it is meant to be a very quiet pressing. There's not meant to be too much crackle or any kind of issues with, you know, with the record itself. But, you know, it looks great. It's something a bit different. And as I say, I don't have like an overabundance of coloured vinyls and things in my collection. Although it is something I have thought about doing for the channel, is maybe showing off some of my favourite coloured vinyl pieces. So maybe if that is a video idea that you viewers would like to see, then let me know, and I can certainly bear it in mind for a future piece of content. So there we go. There's Ash 1977. And that concludes my video of my vinyl hunt up in Edinburgh. So I hope that you enjoyed watching that. I really enjoyed showing them off. Probably gone a little bit longer than I thought I would, given that I only had 4 to show, but most people by now know that if you're going to watch a Vinyl Sanctuary video, that you need to, make yourself comfortable and get ready for a fair bit of waffling and whatever from me. But that's my style. I enjoy doing it that way. So it is just me. I'm not editing stuff down into like little bits and pieces. So yeah, I do tend to meander and go around the houses a bit, but I always get there in the end. So if you made it to the end with me, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and attention for doing that. I think I'm just still really excited and, to be honest, a little bit tired after the week I've had with being up there in Edinburgh and stuff. So yeah, my brain did as well as it could do. So if you enjoyed that video there, and you would maybe like to consider giving it a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it if you did. It would mean a lot to me, and it does help to grow the channel. If you're new here to the Vinyl Sanctuary and you would like to join me in taking refuge in records, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do so, that would mean a lot to me as well. And you can always click the notification bell, which will then keep you up to date of any further content and material that I've got landing. And please do put some comments as well. If you're familiar with Edinburgh at all, or you've done any vinyl hunting lately, where are some of your favourite shops to go and buy records? Do you have any sort of memories of any trips where you've maybe been to go and watch a gig and you've been able to, get away and get a little bit of shopping in there for vinyl too? And any stories, any anecdotes, anything like that, please do share them with me, because I do genuinely love reading the comments of the people that I've got in this community. There are some brilliant people who've been contributing regularly, and they just really, really entertain me and educate me as well with what they're sharing. So if there's anything that you want to tell me, or anything that you want to share, then please do so. And I always endeavour to reply back to people individually as well. So yeah, thank you very, very much indeed. I'm going to go and have a little bit of a think about what I'm going to do next. I do keep saying that I'm going to do some review requests, which I have got lined up. I will get to them at some point. I just thought I'd throw this one in just because I'd managed to buy some albums that I thought might be of interest, and just to sign off on my brilliant trip up to Edinburgh. So until next time, take care everybody, and goodbye for now.